some people will say, okay, free speech for the most part, it's all well and good until your speech begins to threaten my safety. Let's say I'm a person of color or a trans person, and your speech is, if taken seriously and if widely believed, I believe it would be a threat to my physical safety. For example, a recent example of this in the United States is the Tom Cotton op-ed. I don't know if you heard about this, but one of our senators wrote an op-ed for the New York Times suggesting that that federal troops be shipped into cities in order to stop the rioting that was happening because local police weren't doing a good enough job. And the New York Times published it and then eventually retracted it because it got so much backlash. But without commenting on that, let's say someone says, well, Tom Cotton's speech, that's an example where free speech goes too far, because I think as a person of color that if the troops came in and Trump, and they were directed by Trump, that would lead directly to something close to a genocide of Black people or brown people. And that speech goes too far. What do you say to that critique of free speech?
Well, for one, I think our notion of unsafe is very generous at the moment, and very broad. Unsafe can mean so many different things. And I think a lot of the cause of the tensions that we have in discourse at the moment is because of, we're using the same language, but it has different meanings. And so I think we need to be specific when we say unsafe. And maybe it's uncomfortable or maybe undesirable, but unsafe, I'm not so sure about. So if I'm honest, most of the time with most people's claims of unsafety, I'm always fairly skeptical, if we're using the right term there. And let's say, with this issue that you're talking about, I think sometimes we just have a really uncharitable view of our, fellow humans. I think, if there was truly something that could put lots of people's lives at risk, and cause something like a genocide, I think we should have enough trust in our humans that, most people are going to push back on that. I don't think it's something that needs to be unspeakable. I don't think people, I don't think the idea put forward that you were talking about in the New York Times, like, I don't think that's something that, I don't know, there just seems to be such a big jump between an idea I disagree with and death. There doesn't seem to be any sort of room, between those points. And so I would just say that, sometimes I think we need to be less dramatic, less hyperbolic, and specific. We need to be precise with our words. I don't think every idea that is counter to my own, or even, let's say something about like sexuality. I don't think if someone, let's say, didn't believe in the right for gay people to get married in a church, I don't think that necessarily makes me unsafe. I think that makes us disagree.